A man who witnessed the fatal shooting of a Brazos County constable and a civilian bystander in a College Station neighborhood last summer is talking publicly about what happened for the first time.
His identity wasn't released by investigators because he wanted to remain anonymous at that time. But tonight in the News 3 special report, we hear firsthand how he fired back at the gunman and possibly saved the lives of others.
There's an active shooter. We have 2 officers down that we know of and 1 female that's been shot in her vehicle.
August 13th, 2012 turns into a horrific day on the corner of Fidelity and Highland Street in College Station. Brazos County Constable Brian Bachman is attempting to serve a notice for Trace Caffel to appear in court for failure to pay rent. Caffel opens fire with a rifle, killing Constable Bachman.
Description of the shooter?
But the 35-year-old Caffel, who his family believes had some mental issues, didn't stop there. He starts firing at people in the neighborhood with a number of weapons, including an assault rifle and a sniper rifle.
Can we get a second ambulance to stage in the area in case we have multiple victims?
My adrenaline was going so high.
One person sees almost all of it. Tim Irvin is helping his girlfriend, Barbara Holsworth, move her daughter, a Texas A&M student, out of a rental house just 60 yards from where Caffel is taking aim at anything that moves. Irvin is in a direct line of fire and tells nearby students to get inside or take cover.
And I know it sounds a little corny, particularly to non-believers, but when I got out of my car, I heard for the first time, I believe ever, a higher power saying, "You go do your thing, and I'll do mine." And I know not where that voice came from, but I know that it was outside of me. And so I just grabbed my cell phone, called 911, grabbed my pistol, went over and tried to just keep moving.
Barbara Holsworth had been following Tim in her own car.
And when she pulled in, she had a very dazed look on her face, but I couldn't tell if she had been hit at that point. She tried to put her car into park, but put it in neutral, and maybe just because she didn't have the strength. And that's when she rolled out into plain view of the shooter.
Irvin knew he had to draw fire away from Holsworth, who was critically injured and losing a lot of blood inside her car.
I fired once. He turned towards me, evidently knew that there was outside fire. And then I fired twice more, and that's when he directed his fire at me. He hit a car that was behind me, a tree that was right there. He hit the house, and then I immediately laid down and rolled over to the edge of the fence and fired my last two rounds.
Meanwhile, civilian bystander Chris Northcliffe is walking down the street, not knowing the danger ahead.
I had told him that there was a shooter that was shooting at anything and everything, and I just don't think he had time to take cover.
Northcliffe was shot and killed. By now, Irvin believes Caffel has retreated inside his house to reload, so he returns to Holsworth's car and pulls her down in the seat.
I just said, just please try to stay awake. Please don't go to sleep. You're too good of a person to go like this, and let's just try to get through this together.
And then Caffel opens fire on Holsworth's car again. By now, College Station police arrive and begin taking fire from Caffel and return fire. 3 officers are wounded but survive. And then, after the 25-minute shooting spree, Caffel is shot and killed. Meanwhile, Holsworth is rushed to St. Joseph Hospital and survives 2 gunshot wounds. And as for the impact of Tim Irvin's initial 911 call,
he was able to provide us that information. There was other people in the area. He was very instrumental in trying to alert them, keep them behind cover so that they weren't injured as well during the process.
But Irvin credits bystanders and police and ER doctors and surgeons and nurses with saving lives.
Those are the heroes, and I had wanted to remain anonymous. That's why the police asked that for that very reason, because it wasn't about me. It was about a sick individual that could have taken more lives, and if just by the grace that I was there to help protect, then that's great.
Irvin got his concealed handgun permit about 3 years before this shooting in Meredith. He expressed sympathy for the families of Constable Bachman and Chris Northcliffe, who lost their lives, and for those College Station police officers who were wounded when they put their lives on the line. I had to go through a number of channels to find him for this interview, and he says Barbara Holsworth continues her recovery. So that's good news as far as Barbara goes.
Great news to hear, and some great insight about, a tragic situation there. Thanks, John.